As we continue our Georgia's American journey and the celebration of 250 years of America, our focus this week is a Macon school renamed after a civil rights icon. 41 NBC's Fiona King has a look at the history of the John R. Lewis Elementary School.
You're talking about a man who here in Troy, Alabama back in 1957 applied for admission to Troy University that's located here in Troy, and he was denied admission because of the color of his skin.
After being denied admission, Lewis wrote to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., sharing his struggle. King invited him to meet. He suggested that Lewis could sue the university for discrimination, though this would put his family at serious risk.
Look how far we've come because of the work that he's put in and day out throughout his entire life, and how fortunate we are to still benefit from that to this day.
Jarek Lewis, nephew of the late John Lewis and executive director of the John R. Lewis Legacy Institute, says his uncle gave us all the blueprint to succeed, to achieve greatness, and to speak up.
He always say, hey, your vote is the most powerful nonviolent tool that you carry in this world.
While a student in college, Lewis became an activist in the civil rights movement, organizing sit-ins at segregated lunch counters in Nashville. He championed the idea of getting into, quotes, good trouble, necessary trouble, to create change, a motto he would carry for his entire life. Despite facing violence nearly at every turn, Lewis stood firm in his commitment to nonviolence. At 21, he became the first freedom rider assaulted in Rock Hill, South Carolina, when two white men attacked him for trying to enter a whites-only waiting room.
For me, he was such a nonviolent man, and I always want kids to know, I always tell kids that, this was stuff that they trained for. This wasn't just, something that they woke up and say, hey, we're going to be nonviolent. No, they knew that it was going to be faced with difficult situations in life, so they prepared for that. They trained themselves to face those hardships in life.
In the midst of a fight for change, John R. Lewis never lost sight of the next generation. He poured his wisdom and passion into young people, teaching them that reading was a pathway to freedom.
My uncle was a big reader. He believed in reading. As a young man here in Troy, he would often skip out on his farm duties to go and read. And his siblings would take up his slack, would take up his part, and allow him to follow his education.
At John R. Lewis Elementary School, Principal Adrienne Hurley walks the halls with a purpose. She wants every student to feel inspired by the name above their school entrance, a name that stands for courage and excellence.
John R. Lewis was a young man who excelled in school, and here at John R. Lewis, we ask our students every day to show what they know. And when they do that, that means being here present every day, being engaged in their academics.
When I'm going through Atlanta, when I'm going through Macon, and I see murals of my uncle, and I constantly hear people talking about getting into good trouble. It just puts a smile on my face.
For Principal Hurley, the idea of good trouble isn't just a saying, it's a daily challenge she sets for her students.
Here at John R. Lewis, good trouble is doing well in school, showing up every day, and leading not only in school but in the community.
In 1981, John Lewis was elected to the Atlanta City Council, where he served until 1986. Just 2 years later, he made history again, winning a seat in the U.S. House of Representatives for Georgia's 5th Congressional District. Lewis would be elected 18 more times. For his nephew, Jarek Lewis, when he hears America is marking its 250th anniversary,
it gives me the chills, right? It gives me the chills. It shows you how long people have been fighting, right? 250 years.
And the fight continues. For Jarek, one of the biggest lessons his uncle taught him is the power of patience, both in this fight and in the world.
You never give up. So there's times where we're gonna have moments where it feels like, hey, this isn't working, but if you look at my uncle, he didn't give up. Him and other foot soldiers of the civil rights movement, they didn't give up. They put their life on the line for us. They marched for us. My uncle got his skull fractured for us.
On December 29, 2019, Congressman Lewis announced he had been diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer. Sadly, several months later, on July 17, 2020, he died at the age of 80. Principal Hurley says that she hopes that the school will continue to inspire not only students but Middle Georgia for the next 250 years.